Welcome to the wasted world of sports, where the game's just a backdrop for drunken retorts. Rugby League or Union, it's all fair play, but it's the banter that steals the show. Hey, 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 hey. Ahoy, we're here to make some noise. It's all about the laughs, the fun, and the joys. Join us in our world, where the banter is prime. Wasted world of sports, we're having a good time. Scrums and tries, they're all well and good, but we're here for the jokes and tank pants last from the kickoff to the final whistle blow. We'll take the two and we're ready to go. Ahoy, we're here to make some noise. It's all about the laughs, the fun, and the joys. Join us in our world, where the banter is prime. Wasted world of sports, we're having a good time. We break down the plays, but it's all in jest. With the laugh and the cheer, we bring out our best. No serious analysis, no expert critiques, just a bunch of mates sharing plenty of drinks. We'll raise a roll, from sideline jokes to post-match tales, all big goofs and their big fails. We're not so serious, and that's our style. With each ahoy, we raise our skies. Ahoy, ahoy, we're here to make some noise. It's all about the laughs, the fun, and the joys. Join us in our world, where the banter is prime. Wasted world of sports, we're having a good time. So come along and join our sporty crew, where the banter's always fresh. and the
Wasted
laughs
World
are
of Sports, ahoy!
true. Wasted world.
How's everybody doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Nice to see you there, Tanya Godwin. Welcome along to this coverage of the All Blacks taking on Ireland over in Ireland. So, of course, that does account for the severe time difference. We are not, by any stretch of the imagination, normally live at this hour. And it's taken me quite a few Red Bulls to get here to this point, but we have indeed made it. Thank you very much for joining us here. What should be an incredible game. The number one team in the world at the moment, Ireland, defending their home turf against an All Blacks team that, in my opinion, were just starting to get themselves back on track to becoming the All Blacks that we know and, well, for me personally, support, as the teams are out there lined up, ready to go through the national anthems, and of course, the All Blacks will lay down the challenge with the Haka. But before the game starts, let's quickly run through a couple of talking points I think exist for this game. Welcome along there, Unknown, over on TikTok. I want to talk about some key players, one key player in particular. This guy has just taken to test rugby like a duck to water, and I'm talking about Wallace Satiti, or as I affectionately refer to him, Wallace and Gromit Satiti. He has been outstanding for the All Blacks since his debut. Ahoy there, Zoe. Welcome along over there on the TikTok. Absolutely outstanding, and I tell you what, Wallace Satiti is going to have to bring another 10 out of 10 performance here tonight. As I said, Ireland are the number one team in the world at the moment, and that's no fluke. They are absolutely fantastic. They are extremely well coached, extremely well drilled, solid on attack, even more solid on defense, and playing at home. It is going to take Wallace Satiti and the rest of the forward pack to really stand up and take the fight to Ireland. Now, of course, one of the key outs for the All Blacks is Beauden Barrett. I've been talking ever since Scotty Razor Robertson took over the coaching role. I've been talking about how does Damian McKenzie keep on getting picked. That experiment I would have thought would be over. Well, unfortunately for the All Blacks, Beauden Barrett, he is not going to be taking his spot there as the starting number 10. By the way, I want to say nothing against Damian McKenzie. I just don't think that he is a starting number 10. Bring him off the bench as an impact player, absolutely fine with it. As a starting fly half at international level, no thank you. And some of the reasons why will come down and be put on display tonight, I think. The Battle of the Tens, Jack Crowley and Damian McKenzie. It is absolutely no contest. Jack Crowley, much better controlling fly half, much better game controlling fly half. Lot more points on offer that he puts forward to the rest of his team, and you can see in the stats here, head-to-head over the last 5 games, Jack Crowley outscoring McKenzie. He's got a better average than McKenzie, and a percentage of the team total says that he contributes a lot more. He's got a lot more involvement, does Jack Crowley. Then the D-Mac, the smiling assassin. But McKenzie was solid coming off the bench. He failed against Japan, but he was once again solid coming off the bench in the win over England. But I dare say that a lot of that performance had to do with England replacing Harry Smith and putting George Ford on for the back end of the match. I disagree with that decision, and ultimately it cost them in the end. So, in terms of a prediction, I can't see the All Blacks led by unless Damian McKenzie has a game that I didn't think he was capable of and completely takes this by the scruff of the neck. I don't see anything else but a victory for the home team today. I am predicting Ireland to win somewhere in the region of 24 points to 18. I don't think it'll be a blowout. This All Blacks team is still solid enough and can get some points on the board and can defend, even with Damian McKenzie out there. Once again, I feel like I'm harking on poor D-Mac so badly, ripping on him so badly. But really, I think his best position is coming off the bench. But yeah, there we go. 24 points to 18. That is my pre-game scoreline prediction. I think the home side will get the job done. Beauden Barrett is just such a massive out for the All Blacks. Just when he had won that starting spot back, and it looked like things were turning around. Stay hunky, ahoy mate. Stay hunky says Ireland by 8. I doubt the boys today. Either way, I think it's going to be close. If there is to be a blowout, I dare say it'll be a blowout by Ireland. Damian McKenzie, there is just... You hate to single out any one player, right? I mean, I hate to single out Damian McKenzie, and the All Blacks are just such a weak team with him in control. There's no two ways about it. I mean, it's been proven that it's a failed experiment time and time and time again. And we surely can't be the only people that see that. There's obviously a reason, though. There is I mean, Damian McKenzie has been in and around the All Blacks setup for so long now, longer than people probably realize. So, I don't know. They obviously see something that I don't. Chat room, what do you reckon? What are your predictions? Scoreline? Who's going to win? I've gone for Ireland, 24 points to 18. Stay Hunky has said Ireland by 8. Tanya Godwin says, I had a Scottish police officer say to me today, I think Ireland will win, I'm afraid. So even the Scots are going for the All... See, this is what happens, and in all honesty, I remember a period of time, myself included, Ireland were such the lovable underdogs of world rugby. They were there. They were always just there or thereabouts. Now that they've become the number 1 team in the world, suddenly there is that sort of, more than happy to see them lose. I mean, not me personally, but I'm suggesting, isn't it interesting that when a team rises to the top, that's when all the negativity starts creeping in around them. And the same thing happened to the Panthers in the NRL. The same thing happens to the All Blacks. I mean, people are starting to feel a little bit sorry for New Zealand, I think, because they are not the team that they once were. Kanye Ketchup, ahoy mate. Kanye says, what's the weather doing in Ireland, my bros? It looks very damp out there, actually, like very dewy. I don't know if it's raining or if that is just normal, stock standard Irish weather. But it does look very damp out there. Obviously quite cool. The teams are going through the anthems at the moment, and you can see mist, the fog spraying from the players' mouths as they belt out the chorus of their respective national anthems. Damien McKenzie needs to stop his kicking game. He needs some carries, and therein lies the problem, right? If you can't kick, or if you don't have a solid kicking game, you are not an international standard rugby number 10. Great goal kicker. General play kicks are definitely not McKenzie's strong point as well. He kicks a lot, and his kicking is poor. He's got a little bit of the Quade Coopers about him, to be honest. I don't know if that's necessarily a fair comparison. I'm sure that a lot of people will probably disagree with that as well. But yes, Damien McKenzie is our version of Quade Cooper. As the All Blacks line up for the Haka here, or they huddle in preparation for the Haka. And is this going to be led by Rieko Ioane? Rieko to pump out the Haka. What a moment for Rieko Ioane, if that's the case. And it is indeed the case. I can see the wide camera shot now. Rieko Ioane. Rieko the flop says stay hunky. That's a bit harsh. Mind you, I can't talk. I've just accidentally turned the TV off. Wow, that's fabulous. That's what I get for doing the stream with the remote control in my hand, I suppose. Goof. What a great big goof. Right when the Haka has started, I go and switch the telly off. All right. Let's see. What version of the Haka will it be? Traditional Kamate or Kapawango. Looks like they're set up for Kapawango. And you can see some drops of rain falling onto the camera lens now as well. So it looks like rain might be incoming. Frank Boff, ahoy, mate. Ireland win this at home, says Frank. Weather is grand old, stock standard November weather. Ireland's forward pack set this up for Ireland to be too powerful for the All Blacks. And Ireland, much like England last week, marching towards the halfway line to get face-to-face with the Haka. Rieko Ioane, the honour of leading the Haka. A moment he will surely not forget. I don't know if that's his first time. It's the first time that I can recall seeing him do it. I'll say that much. Moments away from kickoff. Ireland versus the All Blacks. I've got Ireland winning this 24 points to 18. Let's see how close I am at the end of this game. 53% interesting on the poll. 53% are going All Blacks victory. I don't know whether that is just out of hope or if that is any sort of indication. As Frivola Duplessis, thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciate that there. Yeah, so I wonder if that is more out of hope or if that is an indication, perhaps, that people are just feeling the All Blacks are in a better position. Look, I think if Beauden Barrett is playing, the All Blacks stand a much better chance. With Damien McKenzie back at 10, I feel like, as I said in the pregame, it just feels like a little bit of a step backwards. In all fairness to Damien McKenzie, and again, I hate to harp on about Damien McKenzie and Damien McKenzie alone, but we've been there, done that. Mind you, again, to be brutally honest, I don't think you throw Harry. They called Harry Plummer into the extended squad. I don't think you can realistically throw a Plummer on debut against the number one team in the world. So with Beauden Barrett's concussion, McKenzie probably, when you think about it, probably the realistic choice there. Moments away from kickoff. Massive talk in the UK press about Swelly for tomorrow's game against the Wallabies, saying he's possibly going to be the best ever convert from league to union. That's a big call, as this one is indeed underway. Mackenzie with the kickoff, and Ireland take the ball inside their own 22. And they will set up a nice clearing kick here after a couple of rucks. They know what they're doing. They are the best team in the world. It goes back to Lowe for the clearing kick. Doesn't find touch. And now Geordie Barrett can return it with a high ball contestable in midfield. It lands outside the 22. But Keenan brings it down. And look at how secure Ireland are at ruck time. It really is phenomenal. Clearing kick again down halfway. Here's Mackenzie's first test of the night. And he manages some meters back up over halfway. Nice, solid kick return. Slow ruck ball. Some hands in there from Ireland. Driving defence, keeping the All Blacks pinned back inside their own half. Ruttimer has it at the back of the ruck. Box kick is charged down. And now dropped by Will Jordan at the back. And early pressure from Ireland's defence, forcing the mistake. What a start from Ireland. It really is. Defensive pressure. What is it that they say? Attacking defence. That's what we just saw there. Some serious attacking defence. Ratimer couldn't get the box kick clearance away. Oh, what we wouldn't give for Byron Kelleher. Not a good start for Ratimer. He was a bit flaky the other week as well, Ratimer. First scrum of the match. It's about 25-ish meters out from the All Blacks line. Ireland's feed right over the far edge of the field. Ireland, of course, as you watch the screen, are running from right to left. So they've got a big open side here. They can set up and look to find some space out there in the All Blacks backline. Slowly but surely, the screens are starting to take shape here. First scrum of the game will be very interesting. The All Blacks were not able to get any sort of ascendancy last week against England. Who led the Haka? The Haka was led, I believe, for the very first time ever, but I could be wrong about that. But for the very first time ever, Rico Ioane with the honour of leading the Haka, and he did a fantastic job too, by the way. That's worth noting. An honour and a moment to remember for Rico Ioane. Seb Watson, ahoy mate. As the scrum forced to reset. It's going to be slippery under weather. You can see the rain coming down. No same game multi for this one, Seb Watson. I've actually done something a little different, and I've gone all in on predicting the score. I thought it would be a little bit of fun to actually predict the scoreline. 24 points to 18. My scoreline prediction, Ireland to defeat the All Blacks. So we'll see how that goes. As you would expect, predicting the exact score is quite a nice, juicy payout. As the scrum holds firm, resisting the All Blacks push, and Ireland have it in midfield. Straight up the middle now goes James Ryan. Takes it to the 22. Ireland stay on the short side, and they have created a mini overlap here. And Beelum crawls into the 22. Still securing possession. Sam Cane goes to ground, has to release the ball. He would have had it had he stayed on his feet. As Ireland now come up with the mistake. They've lost it forward, and will come back for another scrum. Just trying to push the passes there, Ireland, in the early stages of this game. Pushing it a little bit too much. The pass was never on. There were about 6 All Blacks around the player that was attempting to receive the ball. And there is Andy Farrell up in the coach's box. Tapping away with his pen there. I can't tell if he's happy or it's a bit too early to tell. Either way, isn't it? Yeah, Seb, we'll go back to same game multis, depending on how this one all works out, I suppose. But I was just, it's 6 o'clock in the morning for me. So 6 o'clock in the morning for me is not really a good time for a game. But hey, we'll struggle on through. It's all good. Another scrum down. All Blacks got a good shove on last time out. This time, Ireland get the push. And the All Blacks hold firm. Breaking away from the back now. Runimer changes direction. McKenzie from in front of his post now. That is a kick and a half. Damien McKenzie with the clearance up over halfway. And that's probably his best clearing kick, well, ever, to be perfectly honest. Sky Sports covering the game. Kobe. But Wasted World of Sports here, live on YouTube, live on Facebook, live on TikTok. For those who wish to follow along that don't have access to it, as Ireland throw to the middle and they secure their first line out. Lined up to the left once again. Taking it to ground just on halfway. Box kick back into All Blacks territory. Miscommunication at the back. And a penalty to Ireland. A crisscross. An obstruction running back there. Taking Gibson Park out of play. And this is a gift three-pointer right in front. 22 meters out. And Crowley will have no problem smacking this one over. 3 points to nil. Ireland are about to lead. And some points on the board. Just reward. The Haka was led by Rico Ioane. I'm pretty certain for the first time, and it was actually Rico Ioane who created the escort penalty there, the obstruction. Yes, Rico Ioane, I'm pretty certain for the first time that he has had the honour of leading the Haka. Crowley from right in front here. Makes no mistake, it's right down the middle, and it is 3 points to nil. Ireland on top early in this one. All the players been in the All Blacks half. Mind you, we are only 7.5 minutes old. So when I say all the play, is there's not been a whole lot of it. But very much controlling possession and territory as McKenzie gets us back underway. Come on, scoreboard. Update for me now. Trying to keep the people informed here. Ireland receive the kickoff inside their 22. Box kick being set up here by Gibson Park. Charge down attempt by Armour unsuccessful, and it goes into touch over the halfway line. A fantastic kick. 5 meters into All Blacks territory. We're back down here again. Back into All Blacks territory. They just can't escape at the moment. Ireland doing a fantastic job keeping them pinned down here. Any free sites? Honestly, I'm not sure. I do not know. And even if I did, I wouldn't be allowed to say so. All Blacks secure the line-out win, and Ratimer spills it at the back. Play on, though, says the referee. And Ratimer fends his way away from one, fends his way away from another, and he goes to ground. 25 meters out. Kane releases it from the ruck to Sarvea. Here's their opportunity, the All Blacks. It was messy. They get away with it. And now, all over the top of this ball, Ireland will give away the penalty. Kelleher was on the ball, but he went down to his knee. And once you drop to your knee, you must release. And that all came from a break from Cortez Ratimer. Nothing was doing there, and the ball just spills out the back of the ruck. Nobody was really expecting it, least of all the Irish defence. And it just opened up for Ratimer. A 30-meter break up field, and now they get the penalty. From right out in front, it's in exactly the same position, practically, that we saw Crowley put it over for Ireland. So you would expect Damian McKenzie to make no mistake with this one. 9.5 minutes gone, and we're looking at scores being all locked up once again. McKenzie's first kick of the match. He takes his time always, doesn't he, D-Mac? Puts it on target, right down the middle. And it is 3 points all, approaching 10 minutes gone. All Blacks and Ireland, a tight tussle in the making. Just what we were expecting. Scott Robinson's on the radio. I wonder what that's about. Probably saying, tell young Cortez Ratama to keep his head in the game. He is no A.A. Ron Smith. But then who is, right? Who is? The All Blacks have lost some serious players since the last World Cup, haven't they? Crowley gets this back underway. And Geordie Barrett flies through the air to take the restart. Secures the ball for his team on the 22. Under pressure here at ruck time. Ratama with the box kick. Not a lot of distance made, but it is contestable. Talea is up there to make a nuisance of himself. But Crowley's got it now for Ireland. And they're about 30 metres out. Or 40 metres out, in fact. And Ratama gets in and tries to rip the ball away. But little did he realise he actually had hold of the Irish player's head. It's dropped now by Bundyaki. As Ireland try to get a shift on. And it's just not happening for Ireland at the moment here. Some very simple mistakes. You don't expect to see this from the number one team in the world. Taking some time to just get into their work here. 3 points all, 11.5 minutes gone. And the All Blacks with the scrum feed on the halfway line. Just inside their own half. Poor discipline, says Stay Hunky. Poor discipline from the All Blacks. And poor ball handling from Ireland. Now, I know it's wet and slippery. It is raining. But they've been pretty simple dropped balls by Ireland so far. It must be said. Scrum down, holds firm again. Stalemate at scrum time. Neither side gaining ascendancy. Now McKenzie, inside pass for Jordan. Ireland were ready for it. Well defended. The All Blacks secure possession just inside Ireland's half. Savea rolls forward another 5. Ratama releases it now for McKenzie. Through the hands now. Geordie Barrett looping around is Jordan. And they've lost some ground, but they're still in possession. Big defense. Forces the mistake from Ratama. And now McKenzie drops it as well. It's a double knock on. And Ireland's defense, again, racing up out of the line, putting pressure on the All Blacks. And it's push and shove in midfield. Some slaps, some pats on the head. Oh, it's getting tense out there already. 13 minutes in, and the All Blacks already responding to Ireland's defense. They're just not giving them any room. No margin whatsoever. And as we know, historically, even the greatest of All Blacks teams, the Dan Carters and the Richie McCaws, even those historic All Black teams have struggled with a racing defensive line getting up in their faces. We're seeing the makings of that again tonight. Game Mel, ahoy there. Welcome along. It is certainly a key in taking on the All Blacks, isn't it? Just race up and get in their faces in defense. We've been seeing this all the way back to the early 2000s when the Wallabies always used to have it over the top of the All Blacks. The game was always built around just a racing defensive line. Hard to imagine that after all these years, all these different coaches, the All Blacks have yet to find a way to combat a quick defensive line. Very, very interesting. Scrum down. All Blacks shove quickly, and it is called free kick for Ireland. He's got them for the early push. It's only a free kick, so they can't take a shot at goal. They can't put it into touch directly. Crowley's just asking what to do here. Looks like they're going to put the ball high. They do. High contestable ball. It's a little too deep. It's going to fall in the 22, and it's going to be taken well and marked by Will Jordan, who taps quickly and clears from inside his 22, finding touch up over halfway. That was just beautiful work all around from Will Jordan. Mainland mentality. Ahoy there, mate. Let's go All Blacks. Mary Line Baranga. Ahoy there. Welcome along over on the TikTok Live. Waste World of Sports, of course, as we've got this little stoppage for the line out. Live on YouTube, live on TikTok, live on Facebook, with our live commentary of all the games. Line out throw is pinched by the All Blacks on halfway. McKenzie cleans up the loose ball, but he is manhandled at the back. And Gibson Park brings him down. Ireland look to counter ruck. All Blacks release it. In from the side there, Ireland's number 7 there, Van der Veer. Risking a penalty. Ruddimer with the box kick. He takes a step back this time to give himself some space. And Lowe runs forward to take it. And now Ireland have been penalised the exact same obstruction that the All Blacks were pinged for. An obstruction on the kick chaser. You are no longer allowed to provide protection for the kick receiver. You're not allowed to run out of your line to create a barrier for the kick receiver. And we've seen it twice now tonight. One for each team. No thought of taking the 3 here. It's a long way out. So McKenzie just puts it into touch. And the All Blacks will have the line-out throw just outside the 22. They can go on the attack. Mainland mentality says that this one will come down to who is more fit and disciplined in that last 10 minutes. Amua throws to the middle, taken by Barrett. Released quickly by Kane. Into midfield, it goes for Ioane, who's met hard and driven backwards. Again, this Ireland defence. Talia beats one. Takes it back to the 22. Where they started. The TT, one of my key players I was talking about in the pre-game. Geordie Barrett now to Jordan, attacking that left-hand edge. Ireland's defence is still a brick wall, lined up across. And look at that, they run up in a line. They've got rush defence, but they just all come up together. It's really impressive. And they've numbered up down the short side again. Nowhere to go for Tititi or Sarvea down that short side. The All Blacks being very well contained. Satiti powers through 2. They're back to the 22 again for the 3rd time. McKenzie pops it up for Williams, Tamati Williams. Trying to just crawl inside the 22. Basketball pass from McKenzie. Creates some space for Talia down the short side. Has to pop it back in field. Lower's done extremely well to get a clearing kick away, but it's still in play. McKenzie now looks to counter. And he's brought down well by Josh Van der Veer. And this is a frantic little passage of play. And Ireland wrestle the ball away. Just going into contact a little too upright there, the All Blacks. And Ireland have stolen it. They've survived that little attacking raid. Fantastic scrambling defense The crossfield kick is lost forward by the All Blacks. Play on, says the referee. He'll get word from the TMO in a moment, surely. We'll come back for the knock on there. It's play on. Barrett runs it to the line. Pops the inside ball. Numbers to the left here. McKenzie to Ioane. Ioane tries to draw them in, but he is well defended again. Ireland standing firm. It looks like they're going to get away with that knock on now, the All Blacks. Lomax crawls forward, trying to get out of there. The Irish defender rolling away just in the nick of time. He has successfully slowed it down, though, not on purpose, by the way. All Blacks continue to push these inside balls. Hands in the ruck. Almost successfully turned over, but it's been lost forward by Ireland. Scrum down for the All Blacks. Well, that was a very long passage of play. And I'm impressed by this Ireland defensive line. Even when there has been half a break made, they've scrambled back. They've reset their line. It's going to be very, very hard for the All Blacks to break this apart and score some tries. "20 minutes gone, so we're a quarter of the way through. And another scrum down now. All Blacks feed. They're in midfield. They're about 30 metres out from the line. They've got to start thinking little kicks in behind. Take this Irish defence by surprise. Nick Berry's the referee, is he? Tania Godwin says Nick Berry, the referee, not the best choice. Why do you say that, Tania? Not the best choice because he's crap. No, Nick Berry, in fairness, I see a lot of Nick Berry in Super Rugby. He goes all right. Scrum's resetting. There's been parity at scrum time. Nobody really gaining any ascendancy. And again, solid scrum from both sides. All Blacks get a second shove on. It's collapsed on this near side, but they've just let it play on. Through the hands now, Barrett. Miss out pass from Jordan. It's picked up by McKenzie. McKenzie pops it back for Ioane, and Ioane spills it in contact. He had to reach down to his ankles to try and pick that up. And the All Blacks this time guilty of pushing the passes inside the 22. But that's what the defensive pressure is doing. They realise that it's going to take something like that, a miracle ball, to bust this Irish defence open. Advantage has been played, and Will Jordan returns it. It spills out the side of the ruck, and Ireland can counter-attack here. Down the short side they go. Penalty advantage. Gibson Park goes through half a gap, offloads to Sam Cane, who intercepts, and will come back for the penalty. This Irish defence. From the scrum here, the All Blacks have played out wide. McKenzie just needed to draw and pass and put Talia away there. The wrong option by going to contact. Gibson Park has run him down from behind. I don't know that he was necessarily expecting him. I think he thought he was in free space. A lack of game awareness there. Ricky, TNT. Ahoy, mate. Throw into the line out here for Kelleher. 40 metres out from the All Blacks line. They go to the middle and secure possession. Crowley onto Bundyaki in midfield. Gibson Park controlling the ball at the back. And a penalty for the All Blacks in over the top of that one was Wallace Satiti. doing exactly what we said in the pregame that he needs to do. He's leading from the front. And he wins the turnover. A penalty for the All Blacks. "23 minutes gone." Such an important penalty, that one. And it is Wallace Satiti. We talked about him in the pregame, about how he has to lead from the front, just like he has been doing. Amua throws to the middle, to that man again, Satiti. And now Mackenzie runs it to the line. Staying on the short side, Ratama to Clark. Penalty advantage. Ireland caught offside this time. Quick hands down the short side. Amua is taken 10 metres out. The All Blacks under penalty advantage. This is a real chance now. Ratama out to Kane. Kane's driven backwards. Well defended again from Ireland. In from the side there. Already playing penalty advantage. They don't want to give away another one. Nick Berry says we'll come back for it. We're going nowhere fast when we'll come back for that penalty. Now, do the All Blacks consider a shot at 3 here? 24 minutes gone. They've had a lot of ball down this end of the field in the last 5 minutes or so. This defensive line is still not going to be broken apart easily. Do you consider the 3? No, they don't. They are not even thinking about it. They're going straight to the corner. 5 metres out. Well, 10 metres out. It wasn't a great kick there from Mackenzie. It's going to be a line-out throw, 10 metres out. And the All Blacks, they can get a shove on here. Look for them to take this down, set up the rolling maul, and look for another penalty advantage. Amua throws to the back. Not straight. Well, they've cocked it up here. They've ballsed it up. A pressure throw from a sofa, Amua. And he's ballsed it up. It's crooked. And Ireland will have the scrum feed. Off the hook, big time there. 3 points all. 25.5 minutes gone, and we've got a blood stoppage. Oh, dear. Asofa Amua. What have you done, sir? That could become a huge moment in the match. That could be massive. Tania Godwin says he caused some tries to be forfeited at the last World Cup. Had a massive row with Rassi and was deemed by the crowds to not be fit for purpose. When was the last World Cup now? I'm just trying to... I don't remember it specifically. I don't remember specifically Nick Berry having any issues. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I don't personally remember it. But what I also want to say is, depending on how long ago that was, you'd think I would remember when the last World Cup was. Last year, wasn't it? Was it? No. God. Anyway, regardless, whenever it was, I can recall Wayne Barnes. Wayne Barnes was once the most wanted man in New Zealand, and I think we all remember why. Wayne Barnes was also at one point deemed not fit for international rugby officiating on the back of that. And he turned into, thank you, Mark, 2023 was the last Rugby World Cup. Cheers, Mark Tor. Wayne Barnes was public enemy number 1 in New Zealand for the longest time, but he developed into one of the best international referees, possibly of all time. I might be overselling it there as the All Blacks put a big shove on here and the ball spills out. Ratama runs away with it, but Nick Berry has blown it up, saying that the scrum wheel had gone too far. Well, he left that a bit late to blow the whistle. Cookie's time then, Nick Berry. Well, right when I'm in the middle of trying to defend the guy, he goes and makes a questionable call. He left that a long, long time to blow it up. I'm trying to defend you, Nick. What are you doing, mate? I hadn't even finished my sentence. Scrum repacks. That was a big shunt from the All Blacks, and they'll be looking to do that again. And they do shove a little too early this time, but they get the free kick. The All Blacks will get the free kick. They go quickly. Savea catches them napping. He's caught just a couple of meters out from the try line. Penalty advantage for a high contact. They've got a pod set up. One out from the ruck here. Scott Barrett. Driven backwards. Ireland march over the top of it. But All Blacks maintain possession. Ratimer reaches in to try and bring this out quickly. Wraparound play. McKenzie spills it cold. And that comes to a dead stop. But we come back for the penalty. High contact. Well, they've pretty much committed themselves to this now. The All Blacks, they can't now just stop and take the three. They have very much committed themselves to playing for the try. They've got to plug this into the corner and go again. But Damien McKenzie, that was shocking. I know it's wet out there. It's very slippery. Oh, they're taking the points this time. Okay, well, it's nice to know they're listening to me. They've decided this time that they're going to have a shot at three. And that, in fairness, is a true testament to this Irish defence. The All Blacks have said, we'll have the points. We're not going to break through this defensive wall. So we'll take the three. And we'll try this approach. Some scoreboard pressure. Geez, I said 2 penalties ago that they should take the three. And they kept plugging it into the corner. Now I'm actually on board with going for the try. They turn around and say, we'll have the points. Isn't that just typical? Typical. Well, they've put it over anyway, and it is 6 points to 3. Remember my pre-game prediction of Ireland winning this match, 24 points to 18. Well, we're going to need some tries for that to happen. Tries are not incoming yet. Still a long way to go in this one, though. Crowley goes short with the restart. A lot of height on it. Pressure on Geordie Barrett. Oh, what am I talking about? Pressure on Geordie Barrett. He takes it well in the face of that Irish defence. McKenzie with the clearing kick. Well up over halfway. It's good contact, but it's straight down the throat of Crowley at the back, who now puts it high and contestable for the number 14 there, Hansen. Ratimer back to McKenzie for another kick right up the middle of the field. These are all just a little bit aimless. And it's going to bounce up kindly at the back for Ireland. And Keenan kicks for Lowe. Lowe is racing through. Pressure on McKenzie. Manages to swing away from the tackle and puts Jordan into half a gap. Jordan returns it to the 35 and the All Blacks spill it forward. Ireland are in possession. Gibson Park throws a loose pass out wide. I think they want the advantage here. Chip and Chase will sit up for the All Blacks at the back and will come back for the scrum. Well, that was really poor. They've cleaned up their discipline a little bit, the All Blacks, but the handling now has become a real issue. Now, I know it's wet. It's very slippery. But, geez, some of these mistakes are just absolutely unforgivable. Mark Tor says 16-18. New Zealand win it. Yeah, that's not a bad shout, especially the way that this first half has gone. Looking like it's going to be a very low scorer. Tanya Godwin says, you'll find the lowdown in Wales Online. Ireland 15-12. A score prediction there from Mac Geralt over on TikTok. Waste of World of Sports live on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook as Gibson Park feeds the scrum. Parity again. Neither side able to gain ascendancy. Ireland attack the left. Mackenzie just makes the tackle. The pass out in front of Lowe. Lowe does well to claim it on the second attempt. And Ireland are about 25 metres out now on this near touchline penalty advantage. The All Blacks diving over the top of the ruck there illegally. And Ireland will have a chance to level things up here if they want. Looks like they're going to plug it into the corner. A little bit far out for them. No, now they've slowed the play down. And they are indeed putting it into the corner. Well, this is going to be very interesting. Remember, the All Blacks had declined shots at goal to go on the attack and look for the try. They then decided against continuing down that avenue. And Ireland had a very kickable penalty shot there that they've knocked back. This would be a big, big moment. This would be a big FU to the All Blacks if Ireland marched down the other end of the field and their first declined penalty walk away with a try. The line-out throw is secured. Ireland set up the rolling more. All Blacks, of course, waiting for just that play, and they're able to defend it. Ireland have gone nowhere. Told to use it now. Well defended, that first part by the All Blacks. Aki. The ball spills out the side of the ruck. That was very loose and scrappy from Ireland, and the All Blacks survive. They can counter-attack here. Numbers to the left. Ioane draws in the defender. Gives it to Caleb Clark. Clark is outside the 22 and hoofs it out on the fall. The great big goof. Well, he's claiming it was touched. He is appealing for a touch on that ball. Well, it just had that feeling about it. As soon as he put boot to ball, you just felt like something was going to go wrong because running was certainly the better of the two options there. He had an unmarked player outside him. They had the numbers here. And this was touched by the looks of it. He's got a fair point here, Caleb Clark. It does look like it was charged down and deflects into touch. And the TMO has intervened. And it's going to march all the way back upfield. Yeah, Caleb Clark has got the kick on this, and it just brushes the hand. Ireland will still get the line-out throw here. Ireland still get the line-out throw because it was a charge down. I'm assuming. And it is a throw for Ireland right on halfway. But that could have been a lot worse for the All Blacks. They go to the middle to Ireland, and Barrett gets his big arm up there and steals it away. Numbers now to the right for the All Blacks. Ioane steps back in field, and he's brought down on halfway. That is the second line-out steal for the All Blacks. That is an area where they've gained ascendancy, and now Ireland illegally in over the top. No release from Byrne. You've got to make the tackle and then release. And then you can go in and attack the ball again. And on this occasion, failing to release. Now this is right out in front on halfway. No thought of the 3 points. Mackenzie puts it into touch. Just outside the 22. And discipline, just letting Ireland down. Line out throw here for the All Blacks. They go to the back. Well claimed. Risky play in these conditions and this area of the field to go to the back. But it's paid dividends this time. All Blacks ball. Ireland get in and spoil. But driving in from the side there. Lucky to get away with it. Ratama finds some space around the fringes of the ruck. but only a few meters. Scott Barrett puts some fancy footwork on and takes it just outside the 22. Caleb Clark now. Pick and go for another 5 meters. Savia fights his way for another couple. Satiti. Some more good meters. The All Blacks just trying to draw in these Irish forwards and get some space out wide and earn that penalty advantage. And there is the penalty advantage. Ireland illegally trying to counter-ruck. Ratama stays on the short side. McKenzie throws a forward pass there to Clark. And it is called. We come back for the penalty and they'll take the 3 now, surely. The crowd is booing. They're not a fan of Nick Berry. And I wonder if this could have anything to do with the apparent history of Nick Berry there that I definitely need to look into. This World Cup controversy. Slingshot over there on the TikTok. Ahoy there, Slingshot. This is on Sky Sports. And they are indeed... Oh, he's put his mouth guard on the ground, Damien McKenzie. That's disgusting. There's been people's asses falling on that patch of turf. And he's put his mouth guard on the ground. He's going to put it back in his mouth. Somebody's buttocks has slid across that very blade of grass. Mark Torr says this weekend is busy for rugby. Absolutely. We've got, as McKenzie slots this penalty goal over, and the All Blacks take a 9-3 lead. We've got this game, of course, obviously. We've got the Wallabies taking on England. We've got South Africa. The Springboks are taking on Scotland, I believe. And I'm also seriously considering, let me just bring up Rugby Pass as Ireland get us back underway. And Jordie Barrett does extremely well to get up and release and reclaim possession. But the All Blacks still under the pump here. McKenzie inside his own end goal. Clears it outside the 22. It's actually some great distance on that kick. So we've got England versus Australia coming up. Italy versus Argentina and France versus Japan are two that I'm seriously considering tuning in for. Wales versus Fiji. That could be a good one. And Scotland versus South Africa, of course. Some big games coming up for sure. Ireland, they get their line-out throw right this time. They go to the middle. And Bundyaki bursts through one, bursts through another, gets the offload away. And Ireland have got some front foot ball here. Numbers to the right. They're lined up in V formation and march inside the 22. Penalty advantage now as the All Blacks fail to release. And Ireland get the penalty. It's 22 metres out just to the right of the post. It's a gift 3 points if they want it. And I would dare say they take it. It's an absolute gift with 30 seconds to go till the halftime break. You certainly take the points when they're on offer. Oh, we've gone to the TMO here. Potential foul play. This could be a huge moment in the match. Depending on what we're looking at here, Jordie Barrett looks very concerned. Jordie Barrett looks very concerned, and that's why, because shoulder contact to the head, and Jordie Barrett, there was no malice or intent in it, but Jordie Barrett is potentially having to sit down here for 10. This will be a yellow card. Under the current rules of the game, you just can't make any head contact at all. Even though the Irish attacker was falling into contact, Jordie Barrett has had shoulder to the head and will be sitting down for 10 minutes. The All Blacks will have to start the second half a man down. Under the current rules, the obligation is on the defender. And Jordie Barrett, there he goes. It's official. A yellow card under review for red. There's absolutely no way that it gets upgraded to a red. Zero chance that that gets upgraded to red. But for the All Blacks, 10 minutes to play the second half a man down. There's 30 seconds left in this first half, and Ireland will probably chew up all of that with the shot at penalty goal. Takes his seat there on the naughty chair. And Ireland look to make this 9 points to 6 at the halftime break. No tries in this game because both defensive efforts have been 10 out of 10. Crowley makes no mistake, as you would expect. And that'll be the halftime break. 9 points to 6. 3 penalty goals to 2. The All Blacks with a slender lead over Ireland here. A shoulder, stay hunky. There was no malice, no intent, but it was shoulder to the head. It was as simple as that. Once there's shoulder contact to the head, there's nothing, there's no other call that can be made. It is unfortunate, but I mean, it's happening in both codes at the moment. It's exactly the same in rugby league. Any contact to the head whatsoever, and you're done. And unfortunately for Jordie Barrett, shoulder contact to the head, it was clear as day. He has to have a sit down for 10. Bronique says the Barretts need to go. Barretts, all of them, need to go. Let's have a look here at the Wasted World of Sports halftime. 9 points to 6 this game. Every bit as close as we were expecting. But I've got to say, I was expecting a try or two. The defense from both teams has been immaculate, but especially Ireland. Their scrambling defense has just been so impressive. There were many opportunities there for the All Blacks where I think against lesser teams, they would have broken them apart and scored in the corners. But the scrambling of Ireland's defensive line, just immense. So my pre-game prediction was Ireland to win 24 points to 18. Got to say, this will probably be a little more low scoring than that. We might have to reevaluate that one, but I still think Ireland are well poised. We could see the first try score come in the opening 10 minutes of the second half with Jordie Barrett on the sideline, a yellow card right on the stroke of halftime. Could be the turning point of this match. Ireland, they should come out of the sheds, scoring the last points in the first half, and having the extra man. They should come out after the halftime break with a roll-on of momentum. And that could be the swinging point of this contest. Could be. Tania Godwin says Scotland is awash with rugby supporters and veterans this weekend. See, it's interesting because I prefer rugby, proper rugby, rugby union. I prefer union over league. On Wasted Water Sports, though, being an Australian channel, living in Australia, it's all about rugby league here. 100% rugby league, so it is quite difficult sometimes being here and being a rugby union supporter where, yeah, the sport is in a very niche market. A very niche and dedicated supporter base for rugby union here in Australia. It's unfortunate. I'm just so glad now that we've got pay television, we've got cable TV, and I can patch into all the games. I can patch into all the games from around the world because the Australian game gets zero coverage. Now, let's reflect on what we were talking about in the pregame. We talked about this in the pregame. Let's see how it's all taking shape. I said Wallace Satiti would be a player to watch. He has been outstanding for the All Blacks since he's debuted. And I would have to say, yep, we're looking pretty good on that one. Wallace Satiti is having another standout performance. we talked about the battle of the fly halves, Crowley versus Mackenzie, and how Crowley just has a lot more game management and a lot more points on offer. I've got to say, at the moment, because of the defensive efforts of both sides, that one is still a little bit of a stalemate situation. Only penalty goals. And my pre-game prediction of 24 points to 18 in favour of Ireland, well, look, it's still on, but it looks a long way away at the moment, doesn't it? That does look like it's a fair way off from happening at this point in time. Anyway, half-time here, 9 points to 6. This big story for the second half, though, the big story of the second half is the yellow card right on the stroke of half-time. Geordie Barrett, shoulder contact to the head. Potential red card upgrade, though I would be really surprised if it goes as far as that. I don't think that there's anything in it to suggest that it will be upgraded. It will stay a yellow, but still, it's 10 minutes of the second half that the All Blacks are going to have to play with a man down. Geordie Barrett will be sitting there in the naughty chair and wondering where he went wrong in life for that one. So, all right, Wasted World of Sports. I'm going to have a quick break here for half-time. Second half action coming up after this. The All Blacks, a slender lead here at the break. Second half action coming up right after this. Welcome back, YouTube. Half-time here, as I was saying. 9 points to 6 in favour of the All Blacks. But the big story, Geordie Barrett having to sit down for 10 minutes to start the second half. Could that be the turning point of the match? Time will tell. Both sides have done extremely well so far defensively. William Simons says the All Blacks need to up their game. You didn't stay awake for nothing. I would say that they've gone all right, though, in all honesty. It was a shaky start. But considering the injury outs and Damien McKenzie back into the starting number 10 role, we all know what I think about that. I don't think it's the right decision, but who else was there at the moment, in all honesty? the more I thought about it, the more I decided you can't exactly throw Harry Plummer in there. In total fairness, you can't throw Harry Plummer in there on debut and against the number one team in the world and expect him to set the world alight. Mind you, there's absolutely nothing like a baptism of fire. I've had a few jobs where I've had a baptism of fire, just thrown straight in the deep end, pulled off miracles in my first couple of days of working the role. So I guess it does separate the men from the boys, but still, it would have been really undue. Harry Plummer is the type of player that potentially has a long career ahead of him if he's handled correctly. Exactly where he fits in to this All Black squad remains to be seen. But we've seen it happen here in Australia. We've seen it happen multiple times, haven't we? Where Kurtley Beale, for example, Kurtley Beale was somebody who had a decent enough international career, but at one point he was marked to be the next best thing. He was the next Ella here in Australia, and they threw him straight in. He didn't handle it. Matt Giddo is another one. Matt Giddo was thrown into the deep end. What are the more recent ones? And, oh boy, I've forgotten his name. But they threw him under the bus. So, yeah, let's not make the same mistake the Wallabies have made. As devastated as I was to see Damien McKenzie back in the starting squad, really, realistically, once Beauden Barrett went down, what choice was there? Realistically, when we all just calm down and think about it. James O'Connor is not the guy I was thinking of, Sam, but that's another one. James O'Connor was somebody who had the Wallabies placed on the back of his shoulders, wasn't he? A lot of pressure on James O'Connor. No, very, very recent is the guy that I'm thinking of, whose name I can't remember. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Palau was a threat to the All Blacks, says Fronique. Don't know about that. Palau wasn't even a threat to Argentina. I'm pretty sure Argentina's first victory in the Rugby Championship over the Wallabies was on the back of Israel Folau being a ball hog, wasn't he? If I'm remembering that game correctly. Yeah, I'm sorry, Israel Folau. And in my opinion, just my opinion, of course, to each their own, but in my opinion, Israel Folau, incredibly overrated. Like, massively, massively overrated player. But, anyway, I digress. Wow. Okay, so the story of this game has become the opening 10 minutes of the second half, or 9 minutes, 30 seconds to be exact. For 9 minutes and 30 seconds, the All Blacks will have to play without an inside centre. Mind you, this is probably going to be extremely unfair to say, but mind you, they've almost played the first half without an inside centre, haven't they? Been very quiet, Geordie Barrett. But no, that is very harsh because he was there. He was there on defence, and he made some great leaps through the air to take some high balls and diffuse those situations on more than one occasion. In total fairness, Tom Weir says, "Come on, New Zealand, but doubt they will win." Harry H76, love the streams. Keep it up. Cheers, Harry. Yes, indeed. Something person. It is halftime. 9 points to 6. Penalty goals have been the story of the day. 3 penalty goals to 2 in favour of the All Blacks. But, Geordie Barrett in the sin bin. Geordie Barrett has been very naughty, and he's having to sit down to start the second half. And that makes it a huge opening 10 minutes in the second half. There he is. He's all rugged up and on the sideline. Geordie Barrett will not run back out with the team. The sin bin was for shoulder contact to the head. Had to be called. There was no intent. There was no malice. The Irish attacker was falling to ground, and he fell into the shoulder of Geordie Barrett. But as the current rules are, there was absolutely no choice but to give the penalty and send him off for 10 minutes in the bin. That's just the way that the rules are at the moment. There was no choice. It's been reviewed for a potential red. It is not, I don't think there's any reason to see it upgraded to red. But who knows, stranger things have happened. The second half is underway, and Talia runs around the back of his own men, and that is an immediate penalty to Ireland for obstruction. Now, we have seen referee Nick Berry crack down today on obstructions from the kicks. That is the second one now that's gone against the All Blacks. One's gone against Ireland. You cannot create any sort of wall in front of the player that's about to receive the kick, or you're risking giving away a penalty. And this is a dream start to the second half now for Ireland. Talia decided to run around the back of his teammates in front of him rather than just taking it into contact straight ahead. And he has given away an obstruction penalty. DJ Shaq, ahoy mate. Line out throw, 5 meters out from the line. Can Ireland make this a perfect 10 out of 10 start? They do the first part of the job. They win the line out, and they set up the rolling maul. It's ripped away from the All Blacks, though, and Sam Cane races back into the end goal to collect the loose ball. Ireland hold him up and drive him back in field for a 5-meter scrum. They're fired up here, Ireland. You'd almost think they scored a try. This is just the start that Ireland were looking for. Geordie Barrett in the sin bin, still for another 8 minutes. A scrum down, 5 meters out. Ireland's feed. And the All Blacks well under the pump. They are well under the pump here. And this is big time pressure. A try for Ireland. We talked all through the halftime break about how this could be the turning point of the match. A try would pretty well guarantee that it is indeed the case. They are lined up to the right here. Ireland, do they run a set-piece play? Do they spread it wide? Or do they take everybody by surprise and keep it in tight and try and bust up the middle? The scrum sets. Gibson Park feeds. All Blacks look to get a shove on. They do keep it in tight and catch them napping, but they're a metre short. Well defended here from the All Blacks. 5 metres out. Ireland on the attack. James Ryan goes to ground. Again, one out from the ruck. Porter puts a step on. Half a metre short here. Ireland. De Fleur held up, driven backwards. Still half a metre out. Gibson Park throws it 2 out from the ruck in front of Van der Fleur, and that is a try. Josh Van der Fleur receives a flat ball from Gibson Park, and he burrows under the All Blacks defence and just gets it to ground. Just touches the white paint. 3 minutes into the second half, Ireland claim the lead with the first try of the match. A dream start to the second half. And Geordie Barrett watches on from the sideline. Oh, fantastic work there from the number 7. Great ball control. And they are pumped up here, the Irish. Understandably so. Crowley with the conversion attempt. It's on target, just holds its line inside the near upright. 13 points to 9. And Ireland. All right, now my scoreline prediction pre-game is looking a bit more solid. 24 points to 18, I said. Ireland to win. DJ Shaq, just in case you were wondering. DJ Shaq and anyone else who perhaps didn't hear it earlier. All Blacks get us back underway. And the clearing kick right up inside the All Blacks territory. That is a fantastic clearing kick. The All Blacks under pressure here. Jordan running backwards. And he's tackled inside the 22. And Ireland drives straight over the top of this one and collect the ball. They are well on top here. Gibson Park fires it out left. Ireland back on the attack. 10 metres out. Gibson Park again down the short side to Crowley. We'll come back for a penalty to the All Blacks. Very relieving penalty there for New Zealand. They've been let off the hook big time. Ireland putting huge defensive pressure on the All Blacks. Penalty, it seems, for high contact against Gibson Park. Now, that seems like a harsh call. A very harsh call. And I have to ask the question that if indeed it was a penalty for high contact, then, well, I think you know where I'm going with this. A completely different situation, of course, to Jordie Barrett's one, but consistency. Six minutes gone, second half. All Blacks throw to the back. And Scott Barrett comes down with it. Breaking away, Amua bends off the first tackle. Goes to ground, still inside their own half here. Ratima's got it at the back. The counter ruck is good here from Ireland. Pressure on the All Blacks again. Well, that's where I was going with that, DJ Shaq. I didn't want to bring the game into disrepute. But, yes, that is exactly where I was headed. I didn't see the situation. I didn't see the Gibson Park one myself, so I can't really judge whether it was the same or not. As the All Blacks get in over the top of this, and they secure the turnover. Ireland fail to release. Now, this is a penalty right out in front. It's a long way out, though. It's just inside Ireland's half, but I would dare say they might consider taking the 3 here. A man down, the shot at goal. Well, will the shot at goal chew off a little bit more time than putting it into touch? Is there a guarantee that they'll even get the 3 points? I'd be seriously considering it here, though. It's a long way out, but it is in front. It is kickable if they're good enough. And valuable points. With a man down, they are indeed having the shot. Harry says, who's got the legs? It's going to be a very, very tight finish, and this game is just slowly but surely making its way back to my pre-game scoreline prediction. It was looking horrible at halftime. But now, in the opening 10 minutes, it's just creeping ever closer. As the ball falls off the tee. And this does not stop the shot clock, I don't believe. The shot clock does not stop just because the ball blows off the tee. And this has now made it an extremely difficult kick for Mackenzie. He has to reset and he has to rush through it. And it just holds its line. It just shaves inside the near upright. And that is a good recovery from Damien Mackenzie. Beauden Barrett having a laugh about it in the stands. Jordie Barrett not in the mood for laughing. A dejected-looking figure there on the sideline. And in the face of immense pressure there, Damien Mackenzie just sneaks it through. But that's all you have to do. You just have to sneak it through. And he's recovered extremely well there from that little setback. to make it 13 points to 12. Ahoy there, Mary Lynn. Baranga, thank you very much for the follow on TikTok as well, by the way. And welcome back to the live feed. Ratama inside the 22 with the box kick clearance. Up towards halfway. Island let it bounce and bounce into touch. It does. It could have gone anywhere. Risky business, letting the ball bounce. 13 points to 12. Geordie Barrett warming up on the sideline, getting ready to come back onto the field. So the All Blacks have navigated that little period with a man down not too badly. It hasn't been a total disaster, but it certainly could have gone a lot better. Giving away the penalty right from the kickoff put them under that serious pressure, but they've responded well. They trail by 1. They were leading by 3. They come away from that little period trailing by 1. Not too bad as Bundy Aki in midfield, powering forward. Sets up the ruck, 10 metres inside All Blacks territory. Ireland spill the ball in contact. Knock-on advantage here for the All Blacks. And Tupou Vai comes away with it. Kane in at scrum half. Back to Jordan. Jordan clears. It's off the side of the boot. Play on, says the referee. Knock-on advantage over. And Hugo Keenan with no Will Jordan at the back. Clears it down to Mackenzie, who's dropped back. Mackenzie with the goose step and now cuts back in field. Looking for a counter-attack opportunity. Mackenzie's brought down on halfway and knocks the ball on. It's going to be a scrum down to Ireland now. Geordie Barrett's coming onto the field. Back from the sin bin. And Cam Roygard will come on for a very disappointing Cortez Ratama today. It must be said. I feel like Ratama started his international career very well, but he has been caught a little bit quiet in the past couple of hitouts. Cortez Ratama. And let's see what Cam Roygard can offer. As Ireland will get another scrum down. Handling is letting both teams down here. We are starting to see a lot of scrums in this match. Tania Godwin says that'll give the All Blacks some motivation. What's that, Tania? Roygard coming on. And the All Blacks have already uploaded the Haka. Rico did a fine job. I absolutely agree. Rico Ioane, what an honour it was for him to lead the Haka today. Seb Watson says scrum half hasn't been great. Seems a couple of positions where it's a bit like that after legendary players before them. 100%. Ron Smith is some big boots to fill, isn't it? Speaking of scrum halves, I've still got Justin Marshall's autograph from back in the day on a Super Rugby program. Justin Marshall. I got Justin Marshall, Reuben Thorne. I can't remember who else that day. As Ireland set the ball alight through the back line. And Ringrose takes it inside All Blacks half. Inside ball here for Doris. And now that's a dropped ball from Crowley. One out from the ruck. It's very slippery out there. The handling has been atrocious from both sides, but it has been raining. But still, some very simple dropped ball is what we've seen. There was no pressure on Jack Crowley there. Should have been taken. A Wallace Satiti is indeed still out there, I'm fairly certain. He's been solid tonight without being a standout, and that's probably because I talked him up a lot in the pregame. I've probably put the jinx on him. The Wasted World of Sports mockers have been well and truly out. But no, he's still been very, very solid, very powerful, with the ball in hand, and he has won a couple of turnover penalties at ruck time by maintaining his feet and wrestling the ball away, forcing Ireland to hold on. So he's been solid, but he just hasn't leapt out the way that he did against England and of course, pretty much every game prior to this one. So Ireland have obviously done the research and marked up on him, but he's still been very, very solid. Don't get me wrong. Been a very good game for him. Regardless. Scrum holds firm. Roygaard releases it to the left. McKenzie out to Ioane. Ioane double pump and now puts it out to Clark. Clark beats one and he's brought to ground. 10 metres inside Ireland's half. McKenzie to Scott Barrett. Barrett pops it up for Tupou Vai. The All Blacks just going from edge to edge at the moment. Slowly but surely, Ireland race up in defence again. And the All Blacks lose another 5 metres. Roygaard, slow service to McKenzie. McKenzie on to Tamati Williams. They've lost another 5 metres here. Forced now to clear. A high ball. Contestable. Clark gets under it. Clark puts pressure on Keenan, but Hugo Keenan comes down with it. All Blacks drive over the top, but Ireland have secured possession. Great work there from both sides. The defence of Ireland is not letting up here. Hard to see where the All Blacks are going to get tries from, to be perfectly honest. This Irish defensive line has just been incredible for 54 minutes. The kick down to McKenzie. Steps away from one. McKenzie beats the second. Offloads down the left-hand edge for Caleb Clark, who runs it back over halfway. And Clark is brought down. Again, good scrambling from Ireland. McKenzie with the crossfield kick. Low. Races back and takes it on the full. That was a poor kick from McKenzie. Ireland now clear from inside their 22. It doesn't have good direction on it. Kind of aimless. And Will Jordan will just lumber it back up. And takes it into contact on halfway. Will Jordan goes to ground now. Roygaard to Leah. Through the hands now. Here's Satiti. Satiti beats the first defender. Almost pokes through a second one. He was doing it all with his pants around his ankles too. Satiti, that was a good run. All Blacks on halfway. Geordie Barrett back on the field. Goes on his own. Penalty advantage now. Ireland not rolling away. Roygaard dummies inside. Gets the flick pass out to nobody. And will come back for the penalty. Right out in front. They'll seriously consider the 3 again here, I think. Ireland guilty of not rolling away. We know that McKenzie's got the distance. It's right out in front. Seb Watson says James Lowe is good, so good positionally. It was also a rather aimless kick from McKenzie as well, which helped the situation immensely, didn't it? And they are indeed having the shot at 3 here. The kicking tee is out. He hasn't seen a lot of ball, Harry. Harry's just asking on TikTok how Mark Talia's been playing after his screamer against England. He's really not seen a lot of ball, to be honest. This rush defence of Ireland is putting the All Blacks under immense pressure at every ruck. And they just haven't been able to get the ball out to him with any frequency. So Talia been, in that respect, he's been very quiet tonight on the back of that. McKenzie from right out in front. He pushes it to the right, but it hooks back. It hooks back and it hits the upright. And back into the field of play for Gibson Park to clear. And clear he does. He puts it up over halfway. Doesn't find touch. Here's a chance for Talia to run. Talia. Gibson Park gets around his ankles and Talia spills the ball. That is a net result for Ireland in the end. And there we go. Talia, his first real opportunity. And he spills his beans. McKenzie's missed the goal. He just snuck the last one in. This time, no such luck. It hits the posts and bounces away. And then Talia with his first opportunity to run. He beat the first. Well, he almost beat the first tackle, but Gibson Park just clung on around the ankles. Now, this is a big call. This is a huge call. Jack Crowley, the fly half, is leaving the field. 57 minutes gone. This is very interesting because we saw England replaced Harry Smith with George Ford last week, and that is when the All Blacks started to gain ascendancy. Jack Crowley has been replaced. Have Ireland potentially just made the same mistake that England did last weekend with obviously a predetermined substitution pattern? That is a very, very bold call, unless there is some sort of injury or concern around Crowley that I'm not aware of. Mind you, Ireland have got a much better replacement than George Ford. I mean, no offense to George or England, but yes, Ireland have got a little bit more depth in the fly half department. But still, that is a bold call from the Irish coach, considering what happened with England last weekend. Replacing their fly half, who was controlling the game quite well. Another scrum down here for Ireland. Parity again between both sides. Been a good scrum battle. Ireland with a set-piece play, creating numbers to the right. But the dummy from Kieran Frawley, and the inside ball has been lost backwards, says Nick Berry. Frawley onto Aki. Aki fends his way up to halfway. So we'll see how this pans out. Jack Crowley off. Kieran Frawley on. The kick in midfield. Down the middle of the park, but Will Jordan wins the battle in the air. And Jordan now returns it, looking to counter-attack the All Blacks. Quick ruck ball. Roygaard changes his mind, comes back open side. Here's Satiti, gets the arms free. Offloads for Barrett. Barrett to Ioane. Ioane onto Surveyor and Surveyor to Clark. And the All Blacks are still inside their own half. McKenzie with a little chip in over the top. Frawley trips over his own man, and the All Blacks can march over the top of this. But Ireland have done extremely well to get back and secure the ball. Penalty. Time off. We've got time off. There's a player in the way. That's fair enough. Referee blows the stoppage, and everyone can have a rest. New Zealand has played 27 test matches against Ireland since 1905. Won 21, lost 5, drawn 2, so Ireland aren't all that. But I've got to say, Tania Godwin, out of those 5 losses, at least 2 of them have been very, very recent. Two of those losses, at least, have been very, very recent indeed. And a replacement here for Ireland. Bealham, the big prop, he's hurt himself there. Favouring a shoulder, it looks like. And you can't be favouring a shoulder and playing international rugby in the front row. "59 minutes, 30 seconds gone in this one. 13 points to 12. Ireland holding on to that slender lead. Tuanga Farsi's on for Tamati Williams. Posey's on for Lomax. It's a clean out of the front row. Amua's still out there, though. Actually, Amua is still out there for the All Blacks. But a couple of new props for both teams. Scrums have been 50-50. What can the replacements put forward? Con Ma. Ahoy there. Has there been many tries or pure penalties? 1 try in the match. Ireland, the only try scorer at the moment. Josh Vanderfleer, their flanker, busting over the line. But apart from that, it has been all penalty goals. Just the one try. 13 points to 12, Ireland lead. This is a big shove from the All Blacks. The ball spills out. The All Blacks dive on it, and they've won the penalty at scrum time. Stephen Peake says the last 10 test matches between All Blacks and Ireland is 5 each. So there you go. Since 1905, the All Blacks obviously have a much better record, but in recent times, Ireland have developed into the number one nation in the world. And they definitely are able to run with the All Blacks. And the All Blacks from that scrum penalty are indeed going to have another shot at 3 points here to try and claim the lead. This game has been exciting nonetheless. I am the type of guy who loves good defense. I am more than happy and excited to sit through a 6-3 match as I am a 50 points to 45 matches. Mackenzie compensates well and puts this one on target. He hit the post last time. He's made the correction, and he puts this one right down the middle, and the All Blacks have reclaimed the lead, 15 points to 13. 61 minutes gone. But yes, I don't think there needs to be a lot of tries, personally, to be an exciting game of rugby. As the All Blacks secure the kickoff. Roy Guard. Back to Mackenzie. Mackenzie puts it high. Not a lot of distance. Contestable here. Clark can't win the battle in the air, and Ireland come away with it 30 metres out from the line. They can go straight back on the attack here. They've lost the ball. Well, that's not going to help. Putting it through the hands out wide, and it's a shambles in midfield. Kieran Frawley this time spills it. And we were talking about the replacement. England replaced Harry Smith. Harry Smith was controlling the game. England were on top last week against the All Blacks. Harry Smith was controlling the game. They replaced him around the 60-minute mark for some reason. And George Ford came on, and England suddenly found themselves on the back foot, and the All Blacks took control of the game and ultimately won the match. Oh, Marcus Smith, sorry. Marcus Smith. I keep saying Harry Smith. Marcus Smith. My apologies. Was substituted off. George Ford came on. And ultimately the All Blacks finished over the top. And it's so interesting that we've seen a similar pattern here. A similar pattern. Jack Crowley, I thought, was controlling the game quite well. He definitely had the better of Damien McKenzie, at least his counterpart, for the most part. Kieran Frawley's come on at the 60-minute mark, and he's not really raised an eyebrow. Through the hands now from the scrum. Talia in space for the first time. He beats the first defender, but Crawley, speak of the devil, brings him down from behind. Penalty advantage now for the All Blacks. Hands in the ruck by Ireland, and this is right in front. 25 metres out, and a gift 3 points. The All Blacks can extend their lead. Looking to make it 18 points to 13. 64 minutes gone. Yes, indeed. Harry Smith, the English Rugby League player. Marcus Smith, the English Rugby Union player. It's funny because when I was doing the England versus Toa Samoa game, I kept calling Harry Smith Marcus Smith. And now I'm doing Rugby Union and I'm calling Marcus Smith Harry Smith. Bloody hell. So confusing. Mackenzie, about 30 metres on the angle. A very slight angle, this one. But he should make no mistake. using up all of the shot clock. Mackenzie's on target again, and the All Blacks lead 18 points to 13. 18-13. I would love the rum prices back then, indeed, Seb Watson. 18-13. Ireland get us back underway. No mucking around with the restart. And the All Blacks come down with it just outside their 22. Thank you very much for the rose there on TikTok. Very much appreciated. Box kick clearance here from Roygaard. Challenged by Talia in the air, and Frowley's lost it. Kieran Frowley is not having a good night out. Wow, this is very interesting. Exactly the same thing happened with England last weekend. They replaced the fly half, and the All Blacks got on top. Have Ireland just made the same mistake? Unless there was an injury, there was absolutely no reason to replace Jack Crowley. There was no reason at all. As I said, I mean, there could have been an injury that I'm not aware of. It seemed like, considering it happened 3/4 of the way into the game, it seemed like one of those predetermined replacements. Just like when you know that the forwards are going to roll out, right? The forwards are going to roll out about 3/4 of the way through the game. And it seems like that's much the same thing that happened with Crowley. And at the moment, Kieran Frowley is just not up to the level, not up to the speed of the game. And he's been very scrappy as this All Black scrum holds firm. Looking for a wraparound play, but Ireland get up and spoil. Roygaard with the box kick. No pressure on the kick chase, and Lowe is perfectly positioned again. Fends away from Sevilla, but then he is lined up and drilled by Amua. And Ireland, yeah, very much so. Harry says, kind of like deliberately changing the quarterback in American football. Such an influential player. Crossfield kick here for Ireland. It's going to fall on halfway. Lost forward. And Geordie Barrett now breaks away upfield. Barrett gets the offload for Satiti. And Satiti's brought down. That'll be the knock-on advantage over Mackenzie to Jordan. Jordan in and out. Offloads for Rico Ioane. Ioane stands and is brought to ground just inside the 22. Mackenzie now to Kane. Flat pass for Satiti. Satiti rocked backwards in the tackle. Ireland lose their feet. Numbers to the right here. Mackenzie gets it on to Sevilla. Sevilla straightens, draws in the winger, throws to Talia. Talia steps back in field, and a try-saving effort brings him to ground 5 meters out. But the All Blacks suddenly looking very fluid. Satiti out wide. Now to Amua. Amua's got Will Jordan unmarked on the outside, and Will Jordan will score in the corner. Will Jordan scores. The All Blacks have hit back with a try of their own. And the All Blacks extend their lead. 23 points to 18. Well, there goes my score prediction. And just like that, hey, this is what I was talking about. Ireland, have they possibly just completely cocked up the game management just like England did last weekend, replacing your fly half? You do not replace your fly half unless he's injured or just having a dead set shocker. Jack Crowley was controlling the game. They've replaced him in the 60-minute mark, and the last 10 minutes has been all New Zealand. Plenty of time left in this one. 10 minutes to go. Mackenzie from the sideline hooks this off horribly to the left, and it will remain 23 points to 13, sorry. 23 points to 13. New Zealand lead. Will Jordan gets the try. Well, yes. Thank you very much for the night stars there, New Zealand Life. Cheers. I'll drink to that. Seb Watson says Ireland cocked it up by giving away so many penalties. Well, that too. But still, it can't be argued that Ireland were well in control of this match until they took Jack Crowley off. I think that is a fair assessment. Obviously, a lot more has happened around that, in and around that decision. A lot's happened. Thank you very much, Skyline, for the heart over there on TikTok. Very much appreciated. And Kieran Frawley drops the ball cold again. This is the man that came on for Jack Crowley, and I don't think he's held the ball once. He's dropped it cold under the high ball again. And that decision to replace the fly half, if he's not injured, that is the worst call of the night, especially since England did it last week and came up short. What a huge call. I said it at the time. We all said it at the time. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens to the flow of the match now. And the flow of the match is suddenly all New Zealand. Another mistake from Kieran Frawley. He came on at the 57-minute mark, and he has absolutely stunk the joint out. Caleb Clark's off for a well-deserved break. A solid game from him. 70 minutes, 30 seconds gone. And the All Blacks will have a scrum feed here inside Ireland's territory. Oh, poor Kieran Frawley. You really do hate to see it. Honestly, you hate to see it. It's so easy for us to stand here and watch the TV and call out players for their mistakes. But geez, the poor fella. The amount of pressure that he would be feeling out there, you do have to feel sorry for him. Scrum down. 9 minutes remaining in the match. It's still contestable here. It's only 10 points the difference. But Ireland, they have not really looked like getting back into All Blacks territory to put pressure on since the said replacement that we will stop harping on about. Big scrum here from the All Blacks. It goes to ground. Referee says play on. Mackenzie with Geordie Barrett running off his shoulder. And the All Blacks retain possession. Ireland rush defense again. Leaving the wings exposed. But the All Blacks can't get the ball there. No scrum half. And the ball spills out, but it's lost forward by Ireland. And New Zealand are back in possession. They get away with that one, the All Blacks. Roygaard had gone into the ruck. Roygaard this time in the right position at the back. That could have been very, very detrimental to the All Blacks. Geordie Barrett sends it on now to the right for Jordan. Puts the kick through. Lowe is back. And Lowe with a beautiful kick. It's going to be a line-out throw here for Ireland. James Lowe takes the team on his back and says, follow me, boys. Follow me. He was perfectly positioned to receive the kick in the first place, and he puts it over the top of the All Blacks defense and gets the angle into touch. A 50-22. And Ireland will get the line-out throw here. And with 8 minutes remaining, a big opportunity here for Ireland. Sam Cane with blood gushing out of his forehead. So we've got a little bit of a stoppage here. Oh my God. There is a fountain of blood. Oh, that's gross. Poor Sam Cane. He must have copped a cleat to the face or something, because that is a lot of blood. Yeah, here comes for now. Sam Cane, he's bandaged up. His collar has turned from white to red, and he's leaving the field. Absolutely no choice there. Sam Cane was busted open. Big time. Mainland mentality says, I said it before, last 10 minutes will be the decider, and here come Ireland. An opportunity. Line out throw. They need to get this right. This is probably the biggest throw of the match. They get it right. They release the ball quickly. Gibson Park to Aki. Aki with the inside ball for Lowe. And the All Blacks defend well. Ireland, though, still on the attack. 10 metres out in front of the posts. Gibson Park gets in. Numbers out to the left here for Ireland. Lowe bobbles the ball, and that stops him in his tracks. It'd be very fitting for James Lowe to have scored there, to be honest, because he is responsible for this play. Gibson Park now to Frawley. Cutout pass in front of the post there to Herring. Still in possession for Ireland. Frawley again. Down the short side. The All Blacks look to counter-ruck, but Ireland still in possession. Gibson Park into midfield, and Herring goes to ground. Penalty to the All Blacks. They're in over the top of it. And who has won that turnover? Oh, who do you think it is? It's Ardie Savea. Ardie Savea wins the turnover. And that is crucial. What a huge turnover. In the big moments, the big players step up. And the veteran, Ardie Savea, wins a big turnover. The penalty kick only finds touch just outside the 22. Amoa is still out there. Hats off to Asofa Amoa. 74 minutes and still going strong. The All Blacks hooker. What a performance from him tonight. Throws to the middle and the All Blacks spill it. Backwards, says the referee. Scott Barrett comes away with the loose ball. The All Blacks secure possession here. Just on their 22. Roygaard setting up the box kick. Gets it away. And up over halfway. Taken by Hansen, who falls. Gets up and beats Rieko Ioane. And he's brought to ground by Geordie Barrett and Tuangafasi on the halfway line. Big defence from the All Blacks in midfield, keeping Ireland inside their own half. 5 minutes remain. 10 points the difference. Frawley to Aki. Aki can't bust his way through. They've kept Bundy Aki under wraps tonight. Wrap around to Van der Fleer. Gets the arms free. Ireland put the kick in, and it's going to take one bounce and into touch. Is it another 50-22? I think Hansen had just stepped into All Blacks territory. But still, they can pressure this line-out throw. 5 minutes is long enough in a game of rugby. We know it all too well. I think both of these teams have been victims of unexpected defeats in the last few minutes of a game. So they'll know that 10 points is not comfortable by any stretch of the imagination. Amoa. Such an impressive performance. It looks like he's going to put in 80 minutes here. And if New Zealand have uncovered an 80-minute hooker, that's big for them. Throws to Barrett in the middle. Barrett wins the ball, and it's released now for Satiti. Roygaard secures it at the back to McKenzie. Just outside, he's in goal. McKenzie clears. Doesn't find touch. Hansen's under it. Fires it back in field to Keenan. Keenan onto Lowe, and Lowe runs straight over the top of McKenzie. And they're 40 metres out now. Ireland running out of time. They've lost the ball backwards. Aki collects it. Ireland still in possession, but they've lost some metres. They go back towards the halfway line. Frawley with the kick over the top, and it's been lost forward by Mac Hansen. He got hands to the ball, spills it. And with 3.5 minutes remaining, we'll have a scrum down. All Blacks will have the feed. And they will surely, well, was he offside there as well, Hansen? But we'll surely run the clock down here for another minute or two. Three minutes to go. There'll be a couple of minutes chewed off here at scrum time, you would think. 1 try apiece. 2 tries to the All Blacks, sorry. 2 tries to 1, the All Blacks. The rest has been penalty goals. Hang on. 2 tries to 1 or 1 try apiece? Jesus Christ, you'd think I should know this. It's been one of those games, though, hasn't it? I think it's 1 try apiece, and the rest has been penalty goals. Good Lord, I've been the one watching the match. You'd think I would know. 1 try apiece. There we go. 23 points to 13. And as expected, time has blown off. The scrum will reset. They are just going to wind this down for as long as possible. Who's my man of the match? Tania Godwin. Ooh. Geez, nobody's really stood out tonight, in all honesty. I don't think anybody's really gone, hey, give it to me. I'll have to think about that. Scrum sets and Roygaard goes quickly, thumps it over the head of Hugo Keenan, who has to run back for it. Keenan forced to kick straight down the throat of McKenzie, who calls the high ball. McKenzie puts it high. Talia chases, puts pressure on Mac Hansen, and it's gone backwards, but the All Blacks controlling the territory here. Frawley onto Osborne. Osborne pops it up below. Frawley again throws the pass out the back to nobody. Oh, he's been shocking since he's come on. Poor Kieran Frawley. James Lowe, he's been solid in a losing effort. The last minute of the game. Loose pass again out the back for Osborne, who is forced to clear, and it beats Geordie Barrett at the back there. Barrett runs back inside his own 22 to collect it, and not a lot of distance on the clearance. I don't think he really cares about it, though, because they are just winding the clock down here, the All Blacks. They feel like they've got the job done, and they are just looking to take time off the clock. Damian McKenzie has been given the TV player of the match. Geez, as I said, nobody's really stood out, in my opinion, and like everybody's been solid enough. I don't think Damian McKenzie personally put on a man of the match winning performance, but then who else do you pick? Everybody's just been solid. Nobody's really stood out and claimed it, if you know what I mean. So it's probably hard to argue. Damian McKenzie's come up with a majority of the points. So, yeah, it's probably hard to argue it. Nobody really had a standout performance. As now McKenzie seals the deal by putting it into touch, and the referee blows time off. And the All Blacks, 23 points to 13. They have defeated Ireland on their home turf. And I've got to say, the turning point, in all honesty, the turning point was Jack Crowley leaving the field. Now, I've got to say, if he was not injured, that clearly goes down as the wrong decision. Because ever since Crowley left the field, the All Blacks gained ascendancy. And that was the key turning point to the match, 100%. 23 points to 13, the All Blacks with the win. Jason Callaway says, what do you give Damian McKenzie out of 10? If he's man of the match, does he get a 10 out of 10? Absolutely not. Definitely not a 10 out of 10 performance. And you can't give him a 10 out of 10 because there were still too many handling errors. I know that it was wet. There were lots of other handling errors as well. But no, he certainly doesn't get a 10 out of 10 performance. It's probably been his best game as a starting number 10. I think he improved his general play kicking. 100% improved his general play kicking. And his goal kicking was immense as always. Just the one miss, as far as I recall. And that was a close miss. Yeah, 6 out of 7 penalty goals. He hit the upright. All Blacks win a test match in Dublin for the first time since 2016. I would give Damian McKenzie a solid 6. Personally. I mean, that might seem a bit harsh because he won man of the match and all. But yeah, nobody was really... Defense won the night tonight. Defense was the man of the match for both sides, really. I mean, when a game comes down to penalty goals, the difference, you know that it's been a solid defensive effort from both teams. The penalty count for this one, we can find that out easy enough. The penalty count, if I jump over to the stats... Penalties. Here we go. Penalties conceded. Ireland conceded 13 penalties. The All Blacks conceded 5, and one of those was a yellow card. So that tells a pretty big story in the game. 13 penalties to 6. Brandon973 says Roygaard way better than Cortez. He certainly was tonight, and he has been the past couple of times as well. Cortez Ratama, I believe, started his international career very well, and he was a standout in Super Rugby. But Roygaard, it's hard to argue, in recent weeks, has definitely been the better of the two. Five wins in a row for the All Blacks. Wow. So they lost their opening 2 against the Springboks, and then they lost one to Argentina. They won the rematch against Argentina. The 2 against the Wallabies. They beat England and they beat Japan. Yeah, okay, 5 in a row. That's raced up very quickly, hasn't it? Oh, who was my man of the match? I wouldn't have given it to McKenzie. I really wouldn't. Dr. Pooh, ahoy there, mate. But who would I have given it to? As I said, nobody really stood out. Yeah. You know what? I've got nothing. I've got nothing for a man of the match. Maybe I'm just really... Maybe because I've been calling for Damian McKenzie's head for so long now, maybe I just don't want to acknowledge Damian McKenzie's performance. No, that's not it at all. No, Damian McKenzie was solid, but I certainly wouldn't have said all the mistakes that he made. Yes, man of the match, Asafa Amoa. I love it. 80 minutes. When was the last time we saw 80 minutes out of an All Blacks hooker? Probably have to go back, I reckon, to... Geez. I can't even remember the last time that the All Blacks had an 80-minute hooker. But Amoa, he just powered on, didn't he? And if they've uncovered an 80-minute starting hooker, that is huge. Huge for this team moving forward. Tutty asks who was the best Ireland player. I would have to say, hands down, the best player for Ireland would have been James Lowe, yeah? Do we agree with that, chat room? James Lowe? James Lowe was everywhere in defense. He almost single-handedly turned the game around in the last 10 minutes with a huge, huge kick from inside his own half into the 22 of the All Blacks, winning the line-out throw. Gibson Park was solid as well, but I just think all round James Lowe for mine. So yeah, James Lowe, Gibson Park, either one. Damien McKenzie named the TV player of the match for scoring 18 points. Probably hard to argue with, to be fair. As I said, nobody else really leapt out and took the game by the scruff of the neck. And you're starting fly half, I suppose. Yeah, well, it is what it is. Definitely man of the match in a losing performance, in my opinion, James Lowe. DJ Shack says, Dan, the Wallabies have fast-tracked Joseph Swalihi into their squad. He's starting at 13 against the English. I did see that, DJ Shack, and I'm looking forward to covering that game. The Wallabies versus England coming up this weekend as well. The biggest selection bombshell I have seen in a long time, says DJ Shack. It is interesting that they've thrown him in there, to be perfectly honest. Very interesting call. But, I mean, that's what happens, isn't it? These rugby league converts come across to the Wallabies and they get fast-tracked into the international squad. And it doesn't always reap rewards. As a matter of fact, I would say Matt Rogers, is it fair to say Matt Rogers and Andrew Walker have probably been the best Australian rugby league converts? I think that's a pretty fair statement. It's interesting that they're two of the players who used to play rugby union as juniors, went to rugby league, came back. I think it's very important to have played some rugby union. If they've played union at junior level, leave and then come back, they seem to do better. Whereas just the straight rugby league converts, I feel, have been quite disappointing over the years. And a waste of money. Brad Thorne, by far the best. Yeah, but I'm talking exclusively Wallabies players. Luca, exclusively Wallabies players, Matt Rogers and Andrew Walker. But if we're talking in general, absolutely. Brad Thorne is in no question, Brad Thorne is well and truly top 1 or 2. Brad Thorne was absolutely immense. What a player. And now he's into coaching as well and doing quite good at it. Dr. Pooh says Matt Rogers is the only best convert for Australia. I've got to put Andrew Walker in there as well. Andrew Walker, he was solid. Very slippery attacker. Wendell Saylor and Lottie Takiri were okay on attack, but they were horrendous defensively. I mean, poor Big Dell was found out on defense. Once the opposition figured out you just have to turn him around, it was game over for the Wallabies. Takiri was a little bit better, but he certainly... I don't think Lottie Takiri would have made any World 15s. Same for Israel Folau. Israel Folau wouldn't have made any World 15s. Just my opinion, of course. Hope they keep Ireland at number 1. Something to celebrate, says JR. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the world rankings now. I suppose some of it probably does hinder on what happens throughout the course of the rest of the weekend. Just to see where Ireland do end up. They did come into this, of course, at number 1. Will they end up at number 1 after this defeat? Hard to say. What's their rating? World Rugby rankings. Let's have a look. What's their rating? 92.1. New Zealand are at 89.67. Losing a home game against the third-ranked team in the world is probably not going to do as much damage as you suspect it will. South Africa potentially leap, depending on the size of South Africa's victory, assuming that South Africa win this weekend. They potentially do leapfrog up into top spot. Ireland would drop back to number 2. I don't think that there was enough of a margin for New Zealand to jump Ireland into second spot with only a 10-point difference. 92.12 ranking points for Ireland. 10-point loss. The third team in the world at home. It's going to hurt them. I think they'll fall to second. I can see South Africa on Monday, at the end of this weekend, when the new rankings are revealed, I can see South Africa being back up at number 1. I think it'll all come down to how much South Africa can win by. Oh, 100% DJ Shaq. We're talking about Swally here. Joseph Swally. He hasn't played a game at professional level, and now he's being expected to play a position where even in lower levels, he has little to no experience. Seems like they're asking way too much. And this is ignoring his centre partner, Len Ikitau, is usually a 13, and he is slotted into second 5'8". Yeah, I don't know, mate. I think that there was probably some contract shenanigans that have gone on, quite honestly. See, when the All Blacks or when New Zealand Rugby secure a rugby league convert, they never guarantee All Black selection, right? I mean, remember Benji Marshall? Benji Marshall came across, never got anywhere near the All Black squad. So, but I think, in contrast, Australia pretty much guarantee, as part of the contract negotiations, Wallaby appearances. I mean, that's the selling point to get these guys to convert across, isn't it? They're giving up state of origin. They're giving up, well, state of origin. Let's be honest, state of origin is the pinnacle of rugby league. They're giving up an opportunity to play state of origin or represent their nation for whatever that's worth. The selling point is international duty. I think it's written into the contract. That being said, I am obviously quite surprised that they are just throwing him in there and he's debuting already. And he's debuting in a starting spot, not even off the bench. But I do think there are some contract shenanigans in there. Because remember, I'm not sure if you heard about it, but you can keep up with all the news, all the behind-the-scenes news on wastedsports.com.au, our brand new website, wastedsports.com.au, where we post some news articles, all the happenings, player movements and stuff like that, happening behind the scenes in both codes. But you might recall there were some whispers, just whispers, about Swalihi backflipping on his decision to go across to Rugby Union. Now, could that have had something to do with this fast track into the Wallaby squad? Did Swalihi's management put the Wallabies in a position where, in order to keep him and not backflip on the deal, where they had to make this call? If that's the case, look, I'm not saying that is the case. It's just a possibility. But honestly, if that were, I'd say, mate, you're not ready yet. Give us back our money and off you go. Back to rugby league. But what have they got to lose at the end of the day? Honestly, the Wallabies are, the last time I looked, number 9 in the world. With 79 points. They're only ahead of Fiji in the top 10. Only Fiji are behind them at the moment. So really, if you look at it in that respect as well, you've got a potential superstar player in the making. Potential. What have they got to lose by throwing him in there, I suppose? Learn on the job. So there is that angle to sort of look at it again as well. They're number 9 in the world. I mean, they can't fall too much worse. It'll be very interesting to see, though. I am looking forward to covering that game here on Wasted Water Sports, live on YouTube, live on Facebook, live on TikTok, each and every weekend, covering all the games from Rugby League to Rugby Union, and having a damn lot of fun doing it, I've got to say. What's next up? Next up will be England versus the Wallabies. Actually, there's no games of Rugby League on during the day today. So I'm fairly certain that our next game coverage will be England versus the Wallabies. And that is coming up tomorrow morning. Well, tomorrow morning, my time. I don't know what time that is for everybody else. 1:10. 10 past 1 in the morning tomorrow. England versus Australia. That will be the next game here on the channel. And then, of course, also tomorrow, we've got the Pacific Championships, the Rugby League. Australia versus Tonga in the final for that one. And New Zealand taking on Papua New Guinea in the promotion relegation match. So a couple of big games there of Rugby League after this one. And then we will have, rounding out the weekend, we will have, I might do Wales versus Fiji, and I'll definitely do Scotland versus South Africa. So that'll be rounding out the weekend. So plenty of action coming up here on the Wasted World of Sports. Yak Attack says it wasn't pretty, but a win's a win. And that's the way that I'm sure they'll be looking at it. And with injury outages as well, Beauden Barrett would normally have been the starting number 10, I'm certain. But due to that concussion injury, they had to take a step back to Damien McKenzie. And Damien McKenzie, credit to him, without being outstanding, he was solid and got the job done out there today. So that's what's coming up for the rest of the weekend here on the Wasted World of Sports. The next stream will be England versus the Wallabies. Then the Rugby League tomorrow afternoon, Australia versus Tonga. And New Zealand versus PNG. And then rounding out the weekend with the Springboks versus Scotland. And I'm very much looking forward to all of those. Yo, Bobby Johnson, D-Mac was useless and needs to come off the bench. 6-man overlap and he kicks it. I remember that moment in the game. The pass was on and he decided to kick. But that's what he does. Relies too heavily on an average kicking game. DJ Shaq says Maro Itoje and Chandler Cunningham South run a defensive structure similar to Ibn Estebeth and Sia Khaleesi, where they're always tracking back just in case. Talking about Swalihi and Ikitau to get a rude awakening with England's rush defence. New Zealand need Richie back, says Luke Mendoza. Richie McCaw, Dan Carter. No, obviously he's talking about Richie Mo'unga. Richie Mo'unga, he will be back, I'm fairly certain. Richie Mo'unga has been granted the Dan... Yes, he does read Richie Mo'unga, of course. Richie's been granted the Dan Carter little vacation time away to Japan. He'll be back for the Rugby World Cup. That'll be good. Richie Mo'unga such a standout player. He developed into one of the form fly halves of the sport, didn't he? All right, Wasted World of Sports, thank you so much for your company here for this one. Don't forget, we are live every weekend, bringing you all the action on YouTube, on Facebook, and on TikTok, live each and every week. Very much appreciate your company week in, week out. I've got to get some new clips together as well. We've had those same clips on TikTok for the longest time now. Definitely time to get some new ones up there. So I'll work on that over the weekend as well. All right. Thank you so much. And a big shout out, of course, to all our amazing channel members. Thank you so much for your ongoing support to the channel. If you would like to join that list of people on that side, scrolling up and down there, then simply hit the join button on YouTube with membership starting at $1.99 per month. That is $1.99 a month to become a Wasted World of Sports VIP. Thank you very much to each and every one of you who have done that on that side there. The names scrolling up and down. I'm going to get your jerseys back as well. We did used to have a special screen set up for the channel members, and they had a jersey next to their name. It started to get very difficult to maintain because we got more than expected. A lot more numbers than expected joined, honestly. And this is a good problem to have. But honestly, when I first started it, I wasn't expecting more than like maybe 10 people at most. We ended up with like 3 times that, and it took me a bit by surprise. So it was very hard to bloody keep up with all the jerseys and get them all onto one screen. So I've got to think about a better way to do it. I think I've got that figured out now, so we'll be back to that. We'll get your jerseys back up there next to your name very, very soon. All right. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Wasted World of Sports. Very much appreciated as always, and I'll catch you coming up for England versus the Wallabies later on this evening. Until then, cheers. Very much appreciated.
Welcome to the Wasted World of Sports, where the game's just a backdrop for drunken retorts. Rugby League or Union, it's all fair play, but it's the banter that steals the show. Hey, 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 hey. Ahoy, we're here to make some noise. It's all about the laughs, the fun, and the joys. Join us in our world, where the banter is prime. Wasted World of Sports, we're having a good time. Scrums and tries, they're all well and good, but we're here for the jokes and take pads last from the kickoff to the final whistles blow. We'll take the 2 and we're ready to go. Ahoy, we're here to make some noise. It's all about the laughs, the fun, and the joys. Join us in our world, where the banter is prime. Wasted World of Sports, we're having a good time. We break down the plays, but it's all in jest, with a laugh and a some beer.